Welcome, the spicy lady. Never confuse silence with ignorance. There is a quiet type of intelligence that does not rush to speak or prove itself. Some women understand that showing everything you know is not always power. Sometimes power is restraint. Sometimes it lets people assume what they want while you simply observe. The spicy Lady-Sigma, who pretends to be dumb, is not confused or slow. She is reading the room. She listens more than she talks, and she watches how people behave when they think no one sharp is paying attention. In those moments, people reveal their ego, their insecurity, and their true character. That information is priceless. This behavior is not about weakness. It is about control. When expectations or low pressure disappears, people drop their guard. They explain more than they should. They underestimate timing, decisions, and depth. She allows this because it gives her clarity without conflict. In daily life, this shows up in simple ways. At work, she asks questions she already knows the answers to. In conversations, she lets others lead just to see where their thinking breaks down. In relationships, she stays calm while others expose their intentions through impatience or disrespect. What makes this dangerous is not manipulation, but awareness. She moves based on facts, not noise. When she finally speaks or acts, it feels sudden to others because they never saw it coming. Watch till the end, because understanding this mindset will change how you see intelligence, power, and silence. Once you recognize it, you will never underestimate the quiet ones again. Let's dive deeper into Spicy Lady. 1. Disarming threat. Underestimation is one of the most dangerous mistakes people make, and some women understand this better than anyone else. When others see her as harmless, simple, or not very sharp, they relax. They speak freely. They stop filtering their thoughts. That is where real power begins. A woman who is underestimated becomes a mirror. People show their real selves around her. The arrogant start boasting. The manipulative start testing limits. The dishonest start lying carelessly. She does not interrupt. She does not correct them. She simply listens and stores the information. While they feel superior, she is quietly learning how they think and what drives them. Take a workplace example. During meetings, she may let others dominate the conversation. Some colleagues assume she has nothing valuable to add. They rush decisions, expose weak plans, and reveal personal motives. Later, when problems appear, she already knows where things went wrong and who is responsible. When she finally speaks or acts, it feels precise and almost unsettling because it is based on details others ignored. In social situations, underestimation works the same way. Someone might speak down to her thinking she will not notice subtle insults or manipulation. That person becomes careless. They repeat patterns. They reveal how they treat people they believe are beneath them. She does not react emotionally. She observes. By the time she decides how to respond, she understands the full picture. What makes this approach powerful is patience. She is not in a hurry to prove intelligence. She lets people reveal their cards first. This creates a psychological advantage because people rarely protect themselves from someone they do not see as a threat. The real danger is not that she knows more. It is that she knows when to act and when to stay quiet. By the time others realize they misjudged her, decisions have already been made and outcomes are already set. Underestimation did not weaken her. It handed her control without a fight. 2. Creating blind spots. One of the smartest advantages a woman can have is being misread. When people believe she is weak, slow, or unaware, they stop watching her closely. Their attention shifts elsewhere, and that is how blind spots are created. What they do not monitor is often what shapes the outcome. A perceived weakness makes people careless. In social spaces, some speak freely around her, assuming their words will not be remembered or understood deeply. They joke, gossip, or reveal private thoughts without caution. She listens without reacting. That silence makes others comfortable, and comfort makes people sloppy. In those moments, she learns who can be trusted and who cannot. In professional settings, the blind spot grows even wider. During discussions or planning, she may be overlooked. Others push their ideas forward, confident they are the sharpest voice in the room. They fail to notice that she is watching patterns, power moves, and contradictions. While they compete loudly, she maps the terrain quietly. Later, when a situation shifts or a decision needs clarity, she already knows the strongest path forward. Imagine a team project where everyone is racing to stand out. One person talks the most, and another tries to dominate. She stays calm, asking simple questions and observing reactions. No one suspects she sees the gaps in the plan. When problems arise, she adjusts smoothly because she prepared while others performed. This ability to move unnoticed is not about deception. It is about awareness. When people underestimate someone, they reveal their habits and their blind spots. They do not defend against what they do not perceive as a threat. That gives her freedom to maneuver without resistance. The wisdom here is simple but profound. Power does not always announce itself. Sometimes it moves quietly, gathering information and choosing the right moment. By the time others realize they ignored something important, the direction has already changed. Her perceived weakness was never real. It was the shadow that allowed her to move with clarity while others were distracted by noise. Point 3. Psychological advantage. Underestimation creates comfort, and comfort breeds mistakes. When people believe a woman is not paying close attention, they stop being careful. They speak too freely, move too fast, and reveal cracks in their thinking. This is where the psychological advantage begins. She does not rush to correct anyone. She lets errors unfold naturally. Someone might exaggerate a story, contradict themselves, or make promises they cannot keep. Instead of calling it out, she notes the pattern. Over time, those small slips form a clear picture of who is reliable and who is reckless. In everyday life, this happens more often than people realize. At work, a colleague may assume she will not notice subtle power moves or shifting blame. They miscalculate timelines, take credit for ideas too early, or underestimate consequences. She watches quietly. When a situation requires accuracy and accountability, she already knows where the weak links are. In personal relationships, the same advantage applies. Someone who thinks she is unaware might test boundaries through small lies or half-truths. They believe they are getting away with it. She does not react emotionally. She records the behavior. By the time she chooses to respond, she is not guessing. She is acting on evidence. This approach is not about manipulation or revenge. It is about clarity. Emotional reactions often blur judgment. Silence sharpens it. By allowing people to underestimate her awareness, she gathers information without resistance. The real leverage comes from timing. When a decision must be made or trust must be reassessed, she already has the facts. Others feel surprised because they assumed she was oblivious. In reality, she was patient. There is wisdom in knowing when not to speak. Every mistake others make in front of her becomes a lesson, not a conflict. Over time, this builds an inner confidence that does not need display. She understands human behavior deeply because she has watched it unfold without interference. By the time people realize they misjudged her, the balance has already shifted. The advantage was never loud or dramatic. It was quiet, steady, and rooted in observation. That is why underestimation works in her favor every time. 4. Emotional camouflage. Emotional camouflage is one of the most subtle forms of intelligence. It is the choice to hide how much you understand, so you can see how people behave when they think they are safe. When someone believes you do not fully grasp a situation, they stop guarding their tone, their motives, and their reactions. That is when truth surfaces. By holding back her intellect, she gives people room to reveal their character. Some show patience and kindness even when they think they are dealing with someone slower. Others become irritated, dismissive, or controlling. She does not challenge them in the moment. She watches how they treat her when they believe there is no consequence. That behavior tells her everything she needs to know. Think about a close friendship. She might allow a friend to explain something in a condescending way without correcting them. The goal is not submission. The goal is observation. Does the person remain respectful, or do they enjoy feeling superior? That answer matters more than winning a moment. In relationships, emotional camouflage becomes a quiet test of loyalty. When misunderstandings happen, she notices who takes time to explain calmly and who rushes to blame. Someone who truly cares will slow down, communicate clearly, and stay patient. Someone who does not will expose selfishness through frustration or indifference. She learns without confrontation. At work, this shows up when she asks simple questions during discussions. Some colleagues respond with clarity and respect. Others talk down to her or hide information. She remembers this. Later, when trust and collaboration matter, she already knows who is safe to rely on. The wisdom behind this approach is restraint. Reacting quickly often feeds ego and conflict. Holding back creates space for insight. Emotional camouflage allows her to protect her peace while gathering truth. What makes this powerful is timing. She does not expose what she knows until it matters. By then, patterns are clear and decisions are grounded in reality. People may think they were guiding her, but in truth they revealed themselves, and that knowledge becomes a quiet form of strength that cannot be taken away. 5. Control through simplicity. There is a quiet kind of control that does not rely on dominance, force, or loud confidence. It comes from simplicity. When a woman appears naive, people relax around her. Conversations slow down. Defenses drop. What seems like innocence becomes a space where others feel safe enough to reveal how they think and what they want. By keeping interactions simple, she avoids unnecessary tension. People explain things in detail, repeat themselves, and expose their reasoning. While they believe they are leading the interaction, she is guiding it through calm questions and gentle responses. Nothing feels like a challenge, so no one feels the need to compete or resist. Picture a negotiation at work. Instead of pushing hard or showing deep knowledge right away, she asks basic questions. The other person grows confident and starts oversharing. They reveal their limits, their urgency, and their weaknesses. Without raising her voice or arguing a point, she learns exactly where the leverage sits. When it is time to decide, she chooses calmly, often with better outcomes than those who argued from the start. In social settings, the same principle applies. Someone might speak over her or assume she does not fully understand the situation. She lets them talk. They feel in control. Meanwhile, they are setting the tone, exposing intentions, and showing how flexible or rigid they really are. She adjusts her responses accordingly without ever needing to confront them directly. This approach works because confrontation creates resistance. Simplicity removes it. When people do not feel threatened, they do not protect themselves. They show their true priorities. That honesty allows her to steer situations quietly. The wisdom here is restraint. Power does not always come from proving intelligence or strength. Sometimes it comes from letting others underestimate your depth. By staying calm and unassuming, she controls the pace and direction of interactions without force. In the end, outcomes shift in her favor, not because she fought harder, but because she understood better. What looked like naivety was actually precision. And by the time others realized they were guided, the path has already been chosen. 6. Unseen intelligence. Some of the sharpest minds never look sharp at first glance. Unseen intelligence works quietly beneath the surface where no one feels the need to compete with it. When a woman appears slow to react or takes her time before responding, people often mistake that for lack of depth. In reality, her mind is moving in layers, processing more than what is being said out loud. While others focus on the moment, she connects past experiences, current behavior, and future consequences all at once. She listens not just to words, but to tone, timing, and what is carefully left unsaid. What looks like hesitation is actually calculation. She is weighing outcomes, not chasing quick reactions. In everyday conversations, this intelligence shows up subtly. Someone might make a suggestion or tell a story that sounds harmless. She pauses, asks a simple question, and lets the person continue. As they talk, patterns emerge. Contradictions appear. Intentions become clearer. By the time she responds, she already understands where the conversation is heading and how it will likely end. At work, this layered thinking gives her a powerful edge. During planning or decision-making, she may seem quiet or less involved. Others rush to conclusions and push ideas forward. She is tracking risks, noticing who aligns with whom, and predicting where pressure will come from later. When challenges arise weeks or months down the line, she is rarely surprised. She prepared long before anyone else noticed a problem. This kind of intelligence values timing over speed. Reacting fast feels impressive, but thinking deeply is what shapes lasting outcomes. She knows that showing everything too early can limit options, so she waits. The wisdom here is patience. A layered mind understands that life is not one move, but a sequence. Each choice creates another. By calculating far ahead, she avoids unnecessary conflict and wasted energy. People often realize her depth too late. They assumed slowness where there was strategy. By the time her decisions become visible, the direction has already been set. Her intelligence was never absent. It was operating where few bothered to look. 7. Avoiding targeting. People who look for control usually scan their surroundings for strong reactions, loud confidence, or obvious ambition. They target what feels visible and easy to challenge. When a woman does not display hunger for power or dominance, she often slips past their radar. This is not accidental. It is a quiet form of protection. Those who enjoy manipulation are drawn to people they think they can provoke or pressure. When she appears calm and unassuming, they overlook her. They assume she is not a threat and not worth the effort. That assumption becomes her shield. While attention is focused elsewhere, she moves freely without interference. In social spaces, this plays out in subtle ways. A controlling personality might try to dominate conversations or influence group decisions. They usually pick people who react emotionally or seek approval. She does neither. Her steady presence gives them nothing to grab onto. Eventually, they stop trying and shift their focus to someone louder. In professional settings, the same pattern appears. A power-driven colleague might attempt to take advantage of others by assigning blame or stealing credit. They tend to ignore someone they believe lacks ambition. She lets that belief stand. Behind the scenes, she builds skill, clarity, and leverage. When the moment comes to step forward, she does so from a position of strength that was never obvious. This avoidance is not about fear. It is about choosing battles wisely. Not every challenge deserves energy. By staying off the target list, she protects her peace and preserves momentum. The wisdom here is knowing that visibility attracts both opportunity and danger. Some threats disappear when there is nothing flashy to attack. While others fight to be noticed or respected, she grows quietly. By the time those who seek control realize they overlooked someone capable, the balance has already shifted. She was never powerless. She was simply unseen. And that invisibility kept her free to move on her own terms. 8. Gathering information. One of the easiest ways to learn the truth about people is to let them believe you are not fully paying attention. When someone assumes a woman is unaware or uninterested, they relax. Their guard drops. They stop choosing their words carefully. That is when information flows naturally. Playing dumb is not about pretending to be clueless. It is about creating space where others feel safe to speak freely. People explain more than necessary. They repeat themselves. They fill silence with thoughts they would normally keep hidden. She listens closely not just to what is said, but to how it is said and why. In everyday conversations, this looks simple. Someone might be talking about work, relationships, or personal struggles. Believing she is not deeply engaged, they overshare. They reveal frustrations, hidden motives, and even future plans. She does not interrupt or challenge them. She lets the story unfold. By the end, she understands their priorities and weaknesses better than they realize. At work, this approach becomes especially powerful. During meetings or casual chats, colleagues may assume she does not grasp the full picture. They speak openly about strategies, concerns, or office politics. Some complain, some brag, some reveal uncertainty behind confidence. She absorbs it all. Later, when decisions need to be made or alliances matter, she already knows who stands where. This method works because attention is underestimated. People protect themselves only when they feel watched or judged. When they feel ignored, they become honest without meaning to. Silence invites truth. The wisdom here lies in restraint. Many people talk to feel important. Few listen to understand. By choosing to listen quietly, she gathers facts instead of opinions. Over time, this information becomes power, not the kind that controls others, but the kind that allows smart choices and clear boundaries. People often feel shocked when she acts with precision, unaware they provided the very details that made it possible. She was always paying attention. She just never needed to announce it. 9. Amplifying impact. When people do not expect much from someone, every move they make carries more weight. That is the quiet advantage here. When a woman stays underestimated for a long time, her actions land harder because they break assumptions. Surprise has power and she understands how to use it. By staying patient, she allows others to form a fixed image of her. They believe she is passive, unsure, or incapable of decisive action. Because of this, they make plans without considering her role. They speak freely, move confidently, and assume there will be no resistance. That belief creates the perfect setup. When she finally acts, it feels sudden to everyone else. A clear decision, a firm boundary, or a smart move shifts the direction of the situation. People are caught off guard, not because the action is extreme, but because they never imagined she could do it. The contrast between expectation and reality amplifies the impact. Think about a work environment where she has stayed quiet for months. Others dominate discussions and push their ideas forward. When a critical moment arrives, she presents a well-thought-out solution or takes decisive action. The room changes. Attention shifts. Her words carry more authority because they were not constant noise. In personal life, the same principle applies. Someone might assume she will always tolerate poor behavior. She says little, observes a lot. When she finally steps away or draws a firm line, it shocks the other person. They did not expect strength from silence. The wisdom here is timing. Acting too early often invites resistance. Acting at the right moment reshapes the entire dynamic. By waiting, she ensures that her move is final and respected. This is not about proving a point. It is about effectiveness. When actions are rare, they matter more. By the time others adjust their perception, the change has already taken place. Her capability was always there. The world simply did not see it coming. That surprise is what makes the impact lasting. 10. Social experimentation. Trust and energy are two of the most valuable things a person can give. A woman who understands people knows she cannot afford to waste either. That is where social experimentation comes in. By observing how others behave when they believe she is less aware than she actually is, she tests character without confrontation. She might let someone speak freely, make a small request, or even take liberties, all while pretending not to notice. This is not about manipulation for personal gain. It is about discovering patterns, seeing who respects boundaries, who pushes them, and who pretends to care but only acts when convenient. Every interaction becomes a lesson in human behavior. In friendships, this tactic is especially revealing. Someone might share sensitive information expecting discretion. If they treat it carelessly, she notes it. If they are genuinely supportive, she remembers that, too. Small gestures reveal far more than words, and social experimentation helps her understand loyalty before investing emotional energy. At work, this shows up in subtle ways. A colleague might make a mistake or take credit for work, assuming she will not react. Some admit it openly, some cover it up. By observing how they respond under perceived low stakes, she learns who can be trusted in higher pressure situations. That knowledge becomes essential when collaboration matters most. Even in casual social circles, this approach works. People reveal motives, priorities, and patience when they think no one sharp is paying attention. She quietly maps these behaviors, identifying who adds value and who drains it. The wisdom here is efficiency. Not everyone deserves attention or trust, and energy is limited. By experimenting socially instead of confronting immediately, she protects herself while gaining insight. She does not burn bridges unnecessarily. She simply gathers information, evaluates it, and acts when it truly matters. This is why she is rarely caught off guard. While others are busy performing or pretending, she already understands the landscape. Social experimentation is less about control and more about awareness. It allows her to invest in people who matter and step back from those who do not, making every decision deliberate and every relationship intentional. 11. Energy conservation. Energy is one of the most underrated forms of power. People spend so much time proving themselves, arguing or trying to impress that they forget what really matters. She understands this instinctively. By appearing less aware or pretending dumb, she avoids unnecessary battles and preserves her focus for what truly matters. When others are busy showing off their knowledge, she observes quietly. She lets people make assumptions about her intelligence, patience, or skill. They may underestimate her, judge her, or even dismiss her. It does not bother her. That judgment is irrelevant to her priorities. Every ounce of energy spent defending herself would only slow her down. In daily life, this shows up in simple ways. At work, she may ask questions that seem basic, but are actually strategic. While others compete for attention or argue over small details, she gathers insight, strengthens her skills, and builds clarity. Her energy is not wasted on ego or proving dominance. It goes into preparation, execution, and long-term impact. In relationships, the principle is the same. She does not need to prove loyalty, intelligence, or worthiness. People reveal themselves when they assume she does not fully understand. She watches and listens. That energy she saves allows her to invest in connections that truly matter rather than chasing approval from people who do not deserve it. The wisdom behind this approach is simple. Life is finite and attention is precious. Focusing on battles that matter, not those that feed someone else's ego, creates advantage. Pretending dumb is not weakness. It is strategy. It keeps her calm, focused, and capable of moving in ways others cannot anticipate. By conserving energy, she becomes efficient. Her actions carry weight because they are deliberate, not reactive. Her focus is sharp because it is directed at meaningful goals, not at trying to prove herself to those who misjudge her. In a world obsessed with appearances, she quietly builds substance. What looks like simplicity is actually mastery of self and surroundings. That is how energy conservation becomes a form of invisible strength that others rarely see coming. Final thoughts. Never underestimate the quiet mind observing from the shadows. Pretending to be less capable than she really is not a trick or an act of weakness. It is a deliberate way to understand the world around her. When people assume she does not notice, they reveal more than they intend. They show their true priorities, hidden motives, and even weaknesses. Every word, every reaction, and every careless move becomes a source of insight. She absorbs it all quietly, turning observation into knowledge and knowledge into advantage. This approach allows her to navigate life without unnecessary conflict. By letting others underestimate her, she protects her energy and focuses on what really matters. People speak freely, test boundaries, and reveal their intentions. She does not react immediately. She waits, she calculates, and she chooses the perfect moment to act. That timing is what makes her influence so profound and often unexpected. Her danger lies not in aggression, but in subtle mastery. Actions that others dismiss as harmless often carry consequences they never predicted. The very people who assumed she was weak or naive are often the first to feel the impact of her decisions. She turns patience, observation, and strategy into an invisible power that cannot be confronted directly. The lesson here is clear. Appearances can be deceiving, and real strength is quiet, precise, and patient. Watching her strategy unfold teaches a deeper understanding of human behavior, trust, and power. By the time anyone realizes her capability, it is already too late. Intelligence hidden behind simplicity is often the most dangerous of all. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.